Today obviously is this is a rough day for a coach, really anybody in the organization. Anytime you have to release people, that's the way it is. You get down to your number, down to 75, whatever it is. It's tough because you never like to let anybody go. In this case, there were some guys that can really play. Obviously, the first guy with Fred Jackson. I mean, Fred's a heck of a football player, and he's obviously a tremendous person as well. And these days, I mean, this is probably the toughest day I've had since I've been here as a coach. And the decisions that go into things, it's not always apples to apples, but in fairness to Fred, it's probably the best case scenario is that he was released today. It gives him an opportunity to look elsewhere to see if it's a better situation. But that's that was rough without question. The respect that I have for Fred as a player goes back to obviously the years of going against him, and the fact that I know he can still play. And I think that's tough. The other thing is we're going to announce that Tyrod is going to start at quarterback for us in the regular season, and I think the reason I wanted to announce it today, had a change of heart. I wasn't going to announce it. I thought it was going to help us, but in actuality, I know the way it is. I know people get bombarded. I don't want our players being bombarded about who's getting reps, all this kind of stuff. So you know what? I'm going to announce it today, get that over with, that speculation over with, and then we'll move forward. So that's exactly what we're going to do. I think the decision, as I mentioned, was going to be tough because all three guys did a tremendous job for us. And it came down to basically that explosiveness that Tyrod brings to us. I think he's got a great grasp of our system. And again, it certainly wasn't an easy decision. All three guys made it difficult. But at the end of the day, that's kind of what we went with. I like that, that explosiveness that Tyrod gives us, and the fact that I think he's on top of what we're doing. So with that, I'll open it up for questions.
Rex, how much, obviously the decision's made, how much of a concern to hand the keys to a guy who's never started an NFL game for a roster that is built to win now?
Yep, it is built to win now, and we expect to win. And that hadn't changed regardless of who's going to be at quarterback. But Tyrod, the fact that, he has first start or whatever to be a second start, I think technically he had one last game of the year once. But I have confidence in him because of, you mentioned what's around him, but I'm confident that with the players that we have with him and the support that he has from this football team, the coaching that he's getting, he's done a tremendous job to this point, and I expect him to even get a little bit better as we move forward.
Rex, how much did his ability to throw the ball from the pocket, how much did that, obviously you want that from him, but his ability to show that during the course of the preseason?
I thought that was important. I did. I thought that was important because obviously you know about his accomplishments as a runner. I mean, that's very well documented. When you have more rushing yards than Michael Vick at your school, that's pretty obvious he has that ability. But we brought him in because we want to see how, number one, it's a brand new offense, but how he grasps our offense, and then his ability, not just as his mobility, but his ability to throw the ball, was the overriding thing, and I think he did a tremendous job of that.
Rex, regarding Fred, you said you didn't want to get into the exact reasons for his release, but can you maybe explain why the team is better today without him than it was before?
Well, I'm not going to say that. We're not as good as we were. I mean, that's a given. But there's a lot of guys. There's some other guys that we cut. We're not as good as we were because we let a lot of good players go, and I said that. So I think that's kind of how I feel. But I'm not going to say that we're a better team because Fred Jackson's not here. I certainly don't believe that. but it's part of the process. I mean, it's what happens. You can't. A lot of times, you're restricted by your limitations. Well, several limitations that you have, as a team, and sometimes you can't keep everybody you want to keep. If that was the case, we certainly would have kept Fred.
How much do you weigh, if at all, his status in the community and what he meant to the team over the last decade or so when you make these types of decisions?
I think, first off, you, in all fairness to what you have, and not just as Fred, but anybody in general, you weigh what they're going to do moving forward as a football team and things like that. And I mentioned I think Fred can still play this game. And then, what he's meant and things like that, does that not go into the decision? Of course it does. I mean, we're human. Of course those things go into it. Is it wrong by doing that? Maybe some people would tell you that, oh, you got to take that part out of it. I can tell you, humanistically, that's a factor in my opinion as well.